Stay tuned for AFTERBUZZ TV's Hannibal After Show, Digestivo, Season 3, Episode 7. Don't miss it.
You're tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome. Is it going to get to the part?
Get to the part. Oh, man.
Welcome to AfterBuzz's After Show. I'm your host, Dua Kaissi. This is Season 3, Episode 7, Digestivo of Hannibal. Thank you so much for joining us. To my left, the lovely Julia.
Hi, everybody. Missed you last week.
It's all right. It's
Happy to be
okay.
back. You know how I hate to miss Hannibal.
Yes.
I hate it.
You're doing fun and exciting things that we can't talk about, though.
We can't talk about.
We can't talk about.
Okay.
So are the Joes, Joe and Joe. So Braswell, he was at Comic-Con last week, and he will be back to talk about that next week. But he is off in Arizona on assignment, or actually he had a grandbaby.
Having a grandbaby.
It's a big assignment.
Yeah, that's a big assignment. That's intense, that one.
Yeah.
So yay for Joe Braz. Yay, Grandpa.
But it is just the ladies, and we're here to have a little bit of fun. Let's get right into it.
I think we ought to, because there is a lot to unpack.
This was a meaty episode.
This was such a good episode.
Oh, they missed out, those boys.
I know. They're really missing out on a good one.
So what were your thoughts?
Well, first of all, this episode felt like a total finale to me. You know,
It did,
all
yeah.
these little loose ends were tied up, and I can't do that. All the loose ends were tied up. A lot of the questions that we've been asking, I feel like, have been answered. We're back on U.S. soil. All feels right with the world again. Hannibal's back in, where are we, in Virginia?
Yep.
Right? And I just feel like there was a sense of finality, which will be great to move us into the next chapter of this season, which is the Red Dragon chapter that we're going to be tackling, which I'm super excited about as well.
I'm glad that you know what I did. I was thinking about it. I was like, well, where are they going from here? You know, how are you going to make predictions? Because it did kind of close off a lot of loose ends. You know, what happened to Chio? You know, where is she going? There are a lot of questions too that I think that that we can answer. I like the fact that they actually got right into it. They covered the area that we missed last episode, the area where Jack and Will are actually at the table, and Will is getting his head sawn in, that kind of iconic Hannibal, you know.
Eat the brains.
Yep, exactly, the eat the brains moment. And then we have the people from who were they, the Italians?
Oh God, I can't remember what they're called.
They were there for the $3 million.
Well, yeah. But they were the police.
Correct.
Yes.
And quickly.
Questora.
Yes.
There we are.
Very good.
Come to me eventually. The
10 points.
Questora.
10 points for Julia.
Ding ding.
Then they came in and so you kind of got everything that you missed, because last episode we really they caught us up at like inside the truck with Will and Hannibal being captured, and you don't even know how that came to play.
How the hell did that happen?
Well, now we know. Now we know how that happened. So Mason Verger is happy. Right? He has his two, and they have the dinner. What were your thoughts about that dinner?
It was pretty disturbing, actually. That moment where, well, first of all, okay, let me break this down. Hannibal cracked me up because he was so bemused by the entire situation and just sort of, hey, what are you going to do with this? How are you going to do that? How are you going to prepare me? Like, tell me all about it. I want to hear your plans.
He was almost turned on.
A little bit. Like,
yeah.
What's your perspective on this whole eating people thing?
Yep.
And then Will, poor Will, hashtag poor Will, always, every single season, that's a hashtag. You're going to eat him with my face. Yes.
That's normal.
I mean, it's a great face. I love that face. I make no bones about that. But that sort of sense of helplessness I felt was present in Will, but not at all in Hannibal. It's never present in Hannibal. But then Will took a little control.
Well, and it was almost inspired by desperation. You're talking about the fact that Will bit off Cordell's face.
Yes.
Was that the cheek or the ear?
I think it was his cheek.
Okay.
Good chunk of cheek.
Yeah, he got a good chunk of cheek there.
It's a good piece of meat right there.
Yeah, and props to the director and props to the set design and everything. I just felt like everything was shot really well, as it always is. And that whole scene, and then we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Alana and Margot. We're going to talk about Will and Hannibal. We're going to talk about the end of Mason Verger. But I want to just spend a moment and just talk about Cordell. I was kind of sad to see him go.
Cordell is such a fascinating character to me. I don't know if he's a doctor, if he's a chef, if he's a caregiver, if he is a pig farmer, or if he is all of these things wrapped into one Cordelli package.
Yeah,
What is he?
He's a good demented catch, is what he is.
He's just an all-together Renaissance man.
Yeah, Cordell does it all. Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Because he is dead. And we also saw, something I don't want to miss out on is that we saw the meeting and the kind of like the reunion of Alana and Will. Mm-hmm. That was a really interesting scene.
Oh, absolutely. His realization of what are you doing here, and his sort of manipulation to get her to save him of you have to spill blood. You have to. Whether you do it or you make someone else do it, your hands have got to get dirty now. Mm-hmm. You're too deep in, and you got to get me out of here.
Now, do you think that it's funny that conversation with Will and Alana almost mirrored to the T the conversation with Hannibal? And, oh my gosh, Mason Verger's sister. What the
Margot?
Yes, the conversation with Hannibal and Margot.
He had a similar conversation with her when he was her therapist, and she referenced that as well, that you need to kill him. It has to be your job. I guess you're right. Like, you have to get your hands dirty.
Exactly.
And I can't do it for you. Mm-hmm. But I'll take the blame.
Yeah.
Which was nice of him.
That was nice. That was like a shining moment of chivalry for Hannibal right there. It was.
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it.
That was nice. I'll
take it.
That was a chivalrous moment.
Yes.
You kill him. Essentially, I want him dead. And it took, what shocked me about this entire episode, that from capture to escape there was not a lot of time between there. So Hannibal does not stay captured for very long.
He never does.
So and it was all based on sheer manipulation of the characters around him to get him out. Not
just him, but he and Will were sort of working as a team.
Yeah.
A little unspoken team, as they always do. Total buddy cop.
Well, what did Jack call them? Jack actually said something
in that. Identically different.
Exactly. That I think was a really poignant statement.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
I believe. That was the very first scene, too, when he's talking to Chio, when Chio saves him. Chio and that gun, by the way, she is no joke. Mm-hmm. Did she get the same bullet through that hole twice?
Yeah, Hold on.
In the window?
Oh, yes, there was only one hole in the bullet in the window, yeah.
Because that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I'm not sure. But that would be amazing. Yeah, she shot twice, but through the same hole.
Through the same hole, because she's that good.
I shoot twice, I puncture once. I don't. That was a little Russian. I don't know. I don't know.
That's amazing. Thank you for that. That was really good.
So this episode was just so... I love the fact that we see Will and Hannibal almost working together. And I love the fact, as you kind of like arcs into the end of the episode, that we see Will and Hannibal almost break up in a sense.
Well, yeah, it was the best breakup scene I've ever seen.
It was so after Will and Hannibal actually escape, and I'm jumping a little bit ahead and we'll kind of go back later, but after Will and Hannibal escape, they were kind of in a cabin.
They're in Will's house.
And was that Will's house?
I believe that's Will's house.
Oh, and then take us through that scene.
Okay, so we're going to the last scene here.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're starting at the end. I like it. So they've had this epic journey, those two, Will and Hannibal, in these 2.5 seasons now. From their first interactions to their entangling minds to committing murder, and then finally to chasing each other literally all over the world. Mm-hmm. And now we find ourselves back where it all began. Mm-hmm. And it was Will's sort of moment of, I can't do this anymore. It's such a messed up relationship. It's like the worst relationship you've ever been in times 1,000,002. And that was his breaking point. That was, I need to sever all ties with you. This is done. I'm not going to look for you. I'm not going to hunt you. I don't want to know what you're doing. I don't want to know where you are.
Yep.
I just want you out of my life completely.
I can't take this anymore.
I can't take it anymore, Hannibal. And you think that Hannibal accepts it.
Yeah, he seems very, very accepting of it, and then.
But he does seem heartbroken. He seems sad.
Well, he was. I think that he was, and I think that was his retaliation, because Hannibal wants ultimate control in this kind of, seductive game that he plays with people. He wants the ultimate control, and Will took the control back by giving that statement. He's the one that said, I am setting the boundaries. I am cutting off ties. I don't want to know where you are. And Hannibal was like, okay, sure. I'm going to understand. But then Hannibal was like, but you're not going to get that. Because,
okay, buddy. It's like a nice little pat on the head.
You are going to know where I am at all times. I want you to know where I am. So much so that he turns himself in.
Yes. What that does, it makes him so completely accessible to Will at all times. And can you imagine if your ex that you have this really sick relationship with that you just can't get over is in your backyard, that you could just visit anytime, and anytime you have any questions or you just wondering what you're up to today or just get your opinion on something, he's literally a captive audience for you at all times. It was so brilliant what he did, and so it showed a level of desperation, I almost feel like, on Hannibal's part, that he was like,
interesting,
I'm willing to go this far so you can't get rid of me.
And is it because Hannibal needs Will?
I think he loves Will. They need each other.
Yeah. What happened to Bedelia this episode?
She is a no-show.
She is gone. She was, so last, we left off with her last episode with her taking the drugs to then kind of just leads to plausible deniability, because everything was kind of getting out in the open, and the police were coming to her and asking her all kinds of questions, and she could just say, I don't know. This isn't who I am. I'm not Bedelia. And she played it off so well. She really did. She played it off really well. I'm pretty sure that Jack had her number, though. I loved Jack this episode. I thought he was really, he wasn't in a lot of the episode, but I like the bond between Jack and Chio. I think that something else is going to happen there. Where do you think that Chio went?
Chio is such an interesting mythical character to me. It's like she doesn't really exist.
It's almost like she's a fairy.
A little bit.
She's like the assassin fairy.
Yes. Even that last shot of her just walking off into the snow like she's in a little snow globe. Like she does, she's like a little Christmas angel. Ding, and bye-bye. Yeah. Like, I got my wings.
I kill you. Bye.
She's always in the right place at the right time. I don't know if she's sort of the weakest character to me.
Oh, ouch. Burn.
I know. I'm just so not invested in her. I suppose I'm just extremely invested in these other characters. I feel like I've been on this journey with them. I've gone through their ups and downs.
And Chio's only been on for a few episodes.
And there's just not I don't know. I imagine if we explored that full backstory of how she came to Hannibal's family, to the Lecter family, and Misha and all of that, if we explored that, yes, I would be more invested. In tune and invested. But I'm just like, what are you doing? You're just here to save Hannibal. I get it.
Well, what is Hannibal?
It just seems like an easy out. Oh, but Chio's there.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Chio will take care of it.
She will. She's the assassin fairy.
Yes.
Well, what do you think Hannibal thinks of Chio when he uses phrases like, you are right in between silver and iron on the elemental chart, the strongest, most reliable, most...
It's the strongest elements lie between iron and silver. Or the most stable elements.
The most
I think
stable.
Is the most stable. Well, she is always in control.
Yes.
That is for sure. And I found it interesting that her motivation was Misha and not Hannibal. Again, I don't get her. Yes, she's stable. Yes, she'll always be there for him. Yes, she seems to love him in a way that she'll always protect him. But Why?
It's like she got the validation that she needed from him and then left. She was like, okay. It's like she is like a loyal puppy, but it's like it was almost like he was setting her free.
Yeah, I guess, because she said that she's a beast that can't be caged. She said something along those lines, right? When he was sort of he said, like, will you always watch over me? And she said, or he said, will you go home?
And
right?
She said, I'm a beast that can't be caged.
She alluded to that. I am paraphrasing.
If anybody, feel free to write in and clarify.
Do. I'm looking
yes.
right now. Tell me what she said. Yeah, let me know.
Out there in the world.
Yeah, I don't know. Tell me, guys. Tell me, Jonas Tiger or Hades first. Any of you people. Mm-hmm. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Chio, the assassin fairy.
Yeah. All right. So I want to get into Mason Verger a little bit
do
here.
You now?
I do, as much as I really don't want to. And his
I think we must.
Demented mind. When I was watching the scene with Will and Hannibal and Mason at the dinner table, I'm sitting here thinking, like, who is more of an antagonist? Like, what kind of character do you have to create to really make Hannibal look good? Like, how, vindictive and villainous does this person have to be? And that person is Mason Verger. The person that really wants to be Hannibal, that really kind of just, in a sense, that kind of envies him a little bit.
He is the most deplorable character we've seen on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of his... I don't know what it is. I don't want to say it's his sheer joy of what he's doing. It's more the way he treats his sister, I think, than his vengefulness towards Hannibal that bothers me, because this is so deep rooted in him. He is so demented and so sadistic, that it almost, there are times that he almost comes off as cartoonish to me.
I could see that. I could totally see that. Yeah.
But I think that's part of his character, that he is so over the top and so like every whim. Like he doesn't need or want for anything. He can buy anything he wants, including his sister, including Hannibal. Mm-hmm. And that just shows lack of inventiveness in Hannibal's mind, which I think is why he's so amused by him.
Yep. Yeah.
She's like, oh, kid, you don't even know. You don't. He doesn't have the artistic flair, and he doesn't have the passion that Hannibal has. Mason lacks that completely.
Yeah,
which is why he could never win.
Yes, but he will give her the Verger baby.
Yours and mine, Margot.
So Margot decides that, and this was news to Margot, that he had a plan to really, I told you that I would give you a Verger baby. He had taken, he had used I don't even know how to say this eloquently. He had used a pig as the surrogate to take her egg and his semen and create a baby, and there was a baby inside.
Yep.
And he so eloquently said, you're going to have to prepare yourself for this emotionally. So of course now she's off all around the ranch and the farm looking for where her surrogate is, and he used the pig.
Were you surprised by that?
I was actually really shocked.
Really?
Yeah. I was shocked. I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't know that it would be the pig. I thought that was, and the baby was dead inside. Mm-hmm. So
how long had it been dead inside?
Oh gosh.
I mean, at first I thought he said that one little phrase, the Verger baby, yours and mine, mostly yours, which I didn't really understand.
I didn't understand that either.
Which made me think, maybe is this because she was pregnant with Will's baby in season 2, and he got rid of that and took all of her innards at the same time. So for a moment I was thinking, did he just take that fetus out and place that in the pig?
Maybe. Oh,
but I'm wondering I don't think that timeline works out, because then the baby would be like 14 months old.
But not if it was dead, though.
I guess. I don't know. It was just a theory I had.
At the end, when Margot and Alana are talking to Mason Verger right before they kill him and dunk his head in the, they say, we're going to have a baby, yours and mine, mostly yours. So they take that line and they throw it back. And I think that there is some connotation. I don't know if we're missing, or I don't know if there's something deeper behind that, but they did, they did seem to extract his semen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, with a cattle prod.
Yeah, you would be surprised.
Hannibal knows how.
Yeah.
Hannibal's got this one.
Yeah, I don't need to know any tricks, ladies. Cattle prod's the way to go.
The way. Oh, gross.
It was, so funny because you're watching so many things on this show that are, that are really kind of gross and disgusting. But I think that you said it best earlier is that they do such an amazing job of building these characters that you develop these relationships with, and you really want to see where they go. So they can get away with a lot as far as, if I was explaining this television show to somebody that never saw it and I'm explaining kind of the scenes as they happen, somebody would be like, oh, what? And that could be shocking. But I think that, and it is no easy task to really, with, the artistic, shot, like shot setups and everything in there. They did a beautiful one with the eel as well. It was the eel, right? Mm-hmm. When the eel goes into everything is so beautiful to look at. It makes the subject and the topics more palatable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the most beautifully shot show on television.
It really is.
I mean, the attention to detail and I mean, everything they do is just so specific and stellar and beautiful. And still, to this day, like, I don't know why I'm shocked every time that they show me the most disgusting things possible, and I'm still like, oh, but it looks kind of good. Oh, yeah. But it's really pretty. It's either like, oh, that's disgusting, but it's so pretty, or oh, that's disgusting, but it looks really tasty. Mm-hmm. And it's like this weird juxtaposition in my head. It's like, get out of my head, Hannibal.
Yep. Like every time like all of the dinner scenes they have, it all looks so delicious and so fabulous.
In this episode, we saw a man's face being pulled from his skull, mm-hmm. and we saw a human baby being pulled out of a pig.
Yep. And then we saw a man's cheek being removed from his face.
Yeah, and spit out on a plate. And we saw an eel infiltrate someone's mouth. Mm-hmm. And it was all pretty.
Yeah, it was all nice. So
all lovely to look at.
So Will convinces Margot Margot essentially helps him escape.
Hannibal convinces Margot.
Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. Hannibal convinces Margot, yes. And Margot essentially helps him escape and get free. And then we cut to the scene of the face being cut. Mm-hmm. And I thought, and I don't know if everybody else out there thought, that was actually going to be Will's face.
I thought so too, because there was some stubble. And I couldn't remember if Cordell had stubble.
But that was a bit of misdirection because it ended up not being Will's face. Mm-hmm. It was Cordell's face and I love that scene of Mason Verger waking up, Cordell, and you wake up and he takes the mask off of his face, and then all of a sudden it's Cordell's face and it's just blood.
Just slips off. The whole face just slips off of his face.
And it was a little too big for his face.
Well,
it was
Cordell's a big man.
Yeah. It didn't fit properly.
It was reminiscent of that awesome scene in Silence of the Lambs, right? Where, have you seen it?
Yes. Of course I've seen Silence of the Lambs.
You looked at me crazy.
Yeah. But I'm trying to remember the scene.
Where he cuts off the face of the security guard, poses him in that crazy way,
right, yeah,
and then puts it on his own face and gets in the ambulance and then pulls off his face.
And then bites the ambulance guy's face.
Yes. It was all very reminiscent of that.
That's right.
Scarred me when I saw that as a child.
Yeah. You saw that as a child?
I did.
Oh, dear.
I know.
Yeah, this is something I was talking to Braswell about last week, is kind of like the time, because I recently saw Silence of the Lambs again, and there you'll see who we often refer to as Crap Weasel.
Uh-huh.
You'll see him, exactly. And he, in Silence of the Lambs, runs kind of like the whole, facility that Hannibal is kept in. But he's not shot. And his face is perfect. So, so it was just something that I, continuity-wise, that I had brought up, that I was just like, oh, wait a minute, because this all happened afterwards. So it was just small things that they, still go their own way, but they still pay homage to, and they still, like, the iconic parts of, Red Dragon, obviously, we're going to see, and Hannibal and Silence of the Lambs they keep, but they still will kind of tell their own story.
Well, yes, they've done such an amazing job, and we've talked about this before, that they keep to canon for the main hits, the main points, but they have creative license, and they just do the most amazing things just to give these characters a little bit more depth, bring them to life a little bit more off the page. And, you know, they can go their own way as well. And, you know, that's what makes it so exciting, because you feel like you have the show pegged a lot of times because you know the characters from either the books or the movies, and it's just not so.
Yeah.
Because they do whatever the heck they want.
Which makes predictions so darn hard.
I know.
So I will say we will be shooting. I want to let everybody know that we are actually, our time slot has changed because Hannibal's time slot has changed. They have changed from Thursdays to Saturday nights. So we will be taping on Mondays. You guys can catch us every Monday. Joe will be back. We are running a little low on time, so I would say you want to get into some predictions.
Ooh, did we get through it all already? Oh, shoot.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute. We'll go through the list. Mason, Verger, Hannah, and Will.
Hannibal and Will, the epic breakup. That wasn't a breakup.
Yep. Alana and Margot.
Yeah, I guess we did.
Yeah. Is there anything else that...
I don't know. I mean, there's so much. I mean, this was such a meaty episode. So now, how did we end it? We end it with Hannibal in custody. They didn't catch him. He surrendered, as Jack duly points out. We have Will back at home. Everyone's back at home. I don't really know what's going on with Lana. Oh, this is
And
something.
Bedelia. What's happening to Bedelia? Is she just drugged up in Italy?
I guess.
Stay tuned for the spin-off show.
Yes. Bedelia and Florence. Da, 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 da.
Da, da, da.
Is that Mario Brothers?
I think so.
I don't know where that came from. I guess I'll save this for predictions. My little thought here. That's what we got. So Hannibal's in custody. Will's back home. Chio is off in her snow globe.
And then Alana
Verger's dead.
and Margot are gonna make their baby.
Yeah.
They're in a loving lesbian relationship
They
now.
are.
Yeah.
They seem very
Do you think that is a
happy
sincere
together.
relationship?
No. I think that is a sexual relationship out of desperation in the most desperate place ever.
Well, see, I think that there is desperation coming from Margot. I think that Alana has these almost like I don't know what it is.
Well, Alana still has a lot of blood marrow in her blood, which said she was made. They said is going to make her think differently. So now she thinks like a lesbian.
I agree with you. Joe was talking about it last, and he goes, "Well, you know, every time Julie gets in there, she's like Alana and that blood marrow."
It's true.
It is true. Yeah, she seems like a different character that we're used to seeing. Yep.
She lost the updo this time, but she's still sporting the seductive red lips every episode.
Yep.
Just to show.
That's what happens.
That's the evil Alana. That's the evil twin.
Blood marrow gets in your blood, and it really brings out the lips.
It really brings out the flesh in your lips. It's just like pinching your cheeks, ladies.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, I guess we did get it. I mean, it's all tied up in a nice little bow, and I cannot wait for Red Dragon.
And that will be next episode.
Yeah, that starts next episode.
And
I'm so
now,
excited.
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What's your prediction? I see that you wrote Alana on your paper.
I did
right
write
there.
Alana on my paper right there. And I only wrote it because, I mean, it's hard to predict. That's not something that's Red Dragon, which is a story I love. It's near and dear to my heart, which is gross to say something like that is near and dear to my heart, but it's true. When Alana went to set Hannibal free, she made him promise to save Will. And he said, I promise, I always keep my promises. He had promised to kill Alana. I think he's going to kill Alana.
Oh my gosh. That was a great prediction.
Thank you.
That was a great prediction because I think
you.
you're spot on there.
Thanks.
And I think that he You like me. You really, really like me. Yeah, that was a great prediction. I don't know how, and that's the thing, is like, I don't know how this is going to go. I think that there's something that's going to happen with Chio and Jack. I think that there's a connection there.
Really?
I don't know why. I can't explain it. You can't explain some things, Julia. They're just
true,
there.
you can't.
It just happens. I think that something's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to help each other, but like Jack owes Chio because she saved his life and she really kind of just blew it off. And she's like, yeah, you're welcome. But that's something, I think that's something that's going to come back around.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, Will and Jack are going to be together forever.
Together forever. Well, I think we're going to see a time jump, I believe. Just from what I know from Red Dragon and how it starts, I think Hannibal's going to be in the facility for a little bit before. I think there's just going to be a time lapse.
Mid-season time jump. That's, all right.
I think the dust needs to settle a little bit. You know, I think everyone needs to settle into their new roles before we start a whole new caper.
Well, we have, this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 6 more episodes, right? Until the end?
Yeah.
So 6 more. It's kind of like the halfway mark. Okay. I could see it. Almost like the second act of the 3rd season.
Yes.
All right. Excellent. Well, do we have any shout outs or anybody online?
Thank God that Joe usually does this because this is so distracting. I just want to hang out and talk to you people. So who do we have that's streaming with us? We have Jonas Tiger, Stephen Elliott, Cademan Schinder. Sorry, guys. Sylvia Love, Chaos 13212, GBNF, Just Munster.
Hey, Just Munster.
Heimdall Askerd. I think I said you. Holistic Health and Living. Hey, namaste. And I think I got you all. If not, thank you guys for tuning in and following with us. I'm sorry this was a short show today.
It was a little bit short, and we'll have the whole band back together. But where can we find you, Julia?
You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter with my name, Julia Cearley, JuliaCearley. Dua.
Yes, and this is Dua. You can find me at Dua Kaissi on the Twitters. That's DuaKaissi on the Twitters. I don't know why. Every time it's like Twitter. Hey, yeah, see? Ah. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
See you next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday.
Woo!
AfterBuzz TV News. From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.